The judge didn't look up when the bailiff called the next case. His pen moved like the decision was already made. The courtroom air felt thin, like it had been measured and sealed. Malik Adebayo stood at the defense table, hands resting flat, suit slightly worn but neatly pressed. His public defender whispered something, but the judge's eyes stayed on file as if Malik was a footnote. "Mr. Adebayo," Judge Grayson said, voice calm, almost bored, "you're charged with aggravated theft and intent to defraud." Malik swallowed once. "Yes, Your Honor." The prosecutor rose with practiced confidence. "The state is ready. We like remand without bond." Malik's lawyer, Ms. Rios, stepped forward. "Your Honor, we have evidence the state has it reviewed." Judge Grayson waved a hand, as if brushing away dust. "Counsel, I'm not here for performances. Your client was caught on camera. This is straightforward." Each word made the room smaller. Malik's jaw tightened, but he didn't move. He didn't interrupt. He didn't beg. The judge leaned back. "I've seen this pattern too many times." Malik blinked. Slow. "With respect, sir, it's not." "Save it." The judge cut in, still not looking at him fully. People always have a story. What he didn't know was that the courtroom's evidence screen was already connected, waiting for one button.
Before we continue, if stories like this remind you that respect should never depend on how someone looks, tap like, share this video, and subscribe to Black Justice so more people can hear these powerful lessons and stay with us to the end of this narration. It helps the channel grow and keeps these stories alive. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. Now back to the story.
Ms. Rios tried again, voice controlled. "Your Honor, this is a pretrial hearing. The state summary is incomplete. The surveillance clip they're relying on is only 8 seconds. The prosecutor smirked. 8 seconds is plenty when someone is caught. Judge Grayson's gaze finally lifted, sharp, assessing, and lingered on Malik's face for half a breath, as if deciding what kind of man he was. "Mr. Adebayo," the judge said, "do you have employment?" "Yes," Malik answered. The judge's eyebrow moved. "Where?" Malik glanced at Ms. Rios, then back. "I work at Ridgeway Medical Center. IT systems." A soft chuckle came from the prosecution table. Judge Grayson didn't smile, but his tone cooled further. "You want to believe you're some model employee, and this is all a misunderstanding." Malik kept his voice steady. "I want you to see the whole truth." The prosecutor stepped forward, tapping the file. "Your Honor, the victim is a small business owner. He identified the defendant. The security footage shows him reaching into a drawer behind the counter." Ms. Rios opened her folder with deliberate care. "Your Honor, that drawer contains employee apparel envelopes. The state's witness didn't mention the defendant was invited behind the counter." Judge Grayson's eyes narrowed. "Counsel, you are stretching." The silence did more damage than the insult. Malik's shoulders rose and fell once. Quiet, controlled breathing. He didn't glance at the gallery. He didn't search for sympathy. He stood like a man holding himself together with discipline. Ms. Rios turned slightly, voice soft but firm. "Malik, do you want to speak?" He nodded once. "Yes." The judge sighed. Briefly, Malik looked at the bench, not pleading, explaining, "I was at that store because the owner called me." His register froze. He said he'd pay me cash if I fixed it. The prosecutor scoffed. "Convenient." Malik didn't react. "I fixed it. The drawer was stuck. He asked me to open it because his keys weren't working. I reached in and removed a jammed paper roll and a card reader cable." Judge Grayson's pen resumed moving. "So your story is you were helping, and everyone else is mistaken." Malik's voice stayed level. "My story is there is more video." Ms. Rios held up a small drive. "Your Honor, this contains a full surveillance feed. 26 minutes. Audio included. Also the body cam from the store's private security guard, who arrived for a different call." The prosecutor's smile flickered. "We don't need additional theatrics." Judge Grayson leaned forward, irritation sharpening his words. "Why is this not in the state's file?" The prosecutor adjusted his tie. "Because it's not necessary. We have enough." Malik spoke softly, but the words landed. Enough for an assumption. A quiet murmur rolled through the gallery, and then stopped when the bailiff glanced back. Judge Grayson stared at the drive, like it was an inconvenience. "Counsel," he said to Ms. Rios, "if this is a stunt, it will not go well for your client." Ms. Rios met his gaze. "It's not a stunt. It's evidence." For a moment, nothing moved. Even the ceiling fan seemed to slow. Then the clerk, young, careful, cleared his throat. "Your Honor, the evidence screen is available. We can play it." Judge Grayson hesitated. "Just a fraction." "Fine. One clip. Keep it brief." The clerk pressed a button. The large screen behind the witness stand blinked to life. A still frame appeared. The store counter, Malik standing behind it. Yes, but the time stamp began running, and the audio came through the courtroom speakers like a door opening. On screen, the store owner's voice was clear. "Thank God you came. My whole register is down. I can't close." Malik's voice followed, calm and professional. "Okay, don't touch anything. Let me check the cable and the drawer." The prosecutor's shoulders stiffened. Judge Grayson stopped writing. On screen, Malik leaned down gently, and the owner stepped aside, watching. The owner said, "That drawer sticks. If you can open it, you'll save me." Malik replied, "I'll try." The video continued. No sneaking, no rushing, just a man fixing a problem, while another man hovered nervously. Then the store's private security guard entered, uniformed but not police, camera on his chest. His voice came through. "Sir, you called about a dispute?" The store owner said quickly, No, we're fine. He's helping. I called about the delivery earlier." The guard nodded. "Okay." The screen showed Malik pulling out a jam roll and holding it up. "This is the issue," he said. "It's jamming the sensor." The owner exhaled. "Man, you're a lifesaver." In the courtroom, Malik's face didn't change. He watched with the same quiet attention, as if he'd seen it 100 times. Judge Grayson's mouth tightened. The prosecutor's voice cut in, low. "Your Honor, the state." Quiet. The judge said, "Eyes still on the screen." The video kept running, and then the moment came, the moment the state had tried to freeze into 8 seconds. On screen, the owner stepped away to take a phone call. Malik stayed behind the counter, holding the cable. The owner returned, voice raised, not at Malik, but at the phone. "No, I told you, I'm not paying twice." Then he hung up, looked around, saw Malik behind the counter, and his face shifted. Confusion first, then irritation, like a man startled by his own memory. And then, on audio, the owner said something that made the courtroom go colder. "You were behind my counter? Why are you behind my counter?" Malik, still holding the jam roll, replied calmly, "You asked me to open the drawer." The owner hesitated. Just step out." And that, right there, was the pivot, the soft rewrite of reality, the quick fear of how something looks when people walk in late. The security guard's body cam angle caught it all. The guard asked, "Sir, is there a problem?" The owner, voice uncertain now, said, I think he took something." The guard looked at Malik. "Did you take anything?" Malik answered, clear and measured, "No. Check my hands. Check my pockets. Check the footage." He asked me to fix the register. The judge's eyes narrowed as the truth settled into place, not loudly, heavily. The screen showed the guard checking Malik's pockets. Empty. The guard asked the owner, "What's missing?" The owner hesitated again. "My payroll envelopes. I think." The guard turned to the camera and said, "There are no envelopes here. This drawer only has receipt rolls and cables." The owner's face reddened. "Well, I want him trespass." The guard's tone remained professional. "You can ask him to leave, yes, but that's not theft." In the courtroom, the prosecutor shifted papers that suddenly looked too thin. The clip ended. The screen went dark, and the silence after was not comfortable. It was clarifying. Judge Grayson stared at Malik for a long moment, not as a file, not as a pattern, as a person. Ms. Rios spoke softly. "Your Honor," the state's version omitted the context. The evidence shows my client was asked to help and then accused when the optics changed. The prosecutor cleared his throat. The state believed. Judge Grayson raised a hand. No, the word wasn't loud, but it carried. He looked at the prosecutor. You requested remand without bond based on an 8-second clip that suggested theft. The prosecutor's jaw tightened. Your Honor, it appeared. Judge Grayson cut in again, slower now. It appeared because you wanted it to. Each word made the room smaller, this time for the side that came confident. Malik stood still. His breathing remained calm, but his eyes glistened once, just once, like a man refusing to let pain become noise. Ms. Rios glanced at him, then back to the bench. We request immediate dismissal, or in the alternative, release on personal recognizance, and a referral for discovery review violations. Judge Grayson leaned back, the authority returning to where it belonged, inside accountability. He looked at Malik. Mr. Adebayo, I owe you the careful attention I did not give you at the start. Malik didn't nod. He didn't gloat. He simply said, Thank you, Your Honor. The judge's voice softened, measured. This case is dismissed without prejudice pending review of prosecutorial conduct and evidence handling. The prosecutor's eyes widened. Your Honor. Judge Grayson's gaze sharpened. This is not a debate. He turned slightly. Clerk, note for the record. The court orders the state to preserve and disclose all footage in its possession in any future filing. Also, refer this matter to the appropriate oversight committee. A beat passed. Then Judge Grayson looked directly at Malik again. He didn't raise his voice. The judge said quietly, almost as if speaking to himself. He raised the truth. Malik's shoulders lowered just a little, like someone setting down a weight he'd been forced to carry in public. The bailiff opened the side gate. Malik stepped back beside Ms. Rios. She whispered, You did well. He answered softly, I just told what happened. As he walked out, a few people in the gallery didn't clap. They didn't cheer. They simply watched him with new eyes, like they were learning something about the world and about themselves. Because justice, when it arrives with dignity, doesn't need fireworks. It needs honesty, and a screen that finally turns on. In life, some people don't listen until the proof is loud enough to interrupt their assumptions. But the real test of character is how we treat people before the evidence forces us to care. Respect is not a reward for status. It's a basic human duty.
If this story touched your heart and reminded you that respect should never depend on appearances, race, or color, take a moment to subscribe. Your support helps us share more Black justice stories that inspire change, spark awareness, and remind the world what dignity truly looks like. Share and leave a comment. Your voice helps bring these stories to life and keeps the message alive. Your voice matters here,